Hey everyone, and welcome to what was my obsession for a long time. It's Super Mario Bros. The manga. So this was a thing I used to draw and write for literally a whole entire year before I decided to stop. And it was indeed a fanfiction comic book series about Mario. And where do I even begin with this? I went so in depth in this series, added basically any obscure Mario character I could find, and all to make what I consider was the ultimate Mario story in tribute to this series. So I thought it might be fun to make a video going through what I wrote for this, because I'll just say there are some weird things in here. And this was part of my life for a long time, I guess, so why not make a video about it? Before I get started, let me just explain a little bit of details about this story. In case it wasn't clear from the title, this was mostly inspired by manga, specifically shonen manga, and that's what the structure is reminiscent of, with multiple chapters and volumes. There are also fight scenes with power-ups as the main power system, because of course there is. The story is divided into 4 main arcs: the Mama Sivas arc, the Lord G arc, the Return to Dinosaur Island arc, and then a 4th arc, which I won't say the name of now to avoid spoilers. I only ever did get to finish the 1st arc and half of the 2nd arc, so I'll go through the first one today and the rest in a part 2. Now this story, especially its art, is of course really bad, I can't deny that, but I actually think I'm pretty proud of this one. It has some interesting writing decisions for sure, and I can't help but have a little bit of pride for this dumb little story I made. As we go on, I'll explain things and try to say what was really going through my head at the time. Well, that's about it, so I welcome you to the Super Mario Bros. The manga rabbit hole. Our story starts with an evil army encroaching on Princess Peach's castle, and you reveal that it's Bowser's army. But it's being led by someone new, Bowser's brother, Mama Sivas. Inside the castle, Toadsworth, the bodyguard of Princess Peach, notices the army and alerts the princess. Peach is shocked because, after all, she watched Bowser die on Dinosaur Island. Okay, let me just explain that real quick. This right here is the timeline the story works on. 1985 were the events of the first Super Mario Bros., where Bowser and his army kidnapped Princess Peach. You know, like what happens in the actual game. Super Mario Bros. 2 was all a dream Mario had, like what is revealed at the ending, and then Super Mario Bros. 3 was a stage play depicting the events of Super Mario Bros., where Mario and Luigi are actors playing themselves, like the theory says. 1990 was Super Mario World, where Bowser returns for real this time to kidnap Princess Peach and bring her to his base on Dinosaur Island. Mario and Luigi go there and kill Bowser, but the trauma from the experience of the adventure would eventually drive a rift between them, which would take years to be healed. And that's the reason Luigi is not in Super Mario 64, which is actually a movie. So this is an alternate universe where Bowser dies in Super Mario World, and his brother Mama Sivas takes over and gets revenge for him. And this story takes place in 1993, so 3 years after the events of Super Mario World. Okay, sorry for the info dump, but it's pretty much necessary to understand the story, and to be honest, I should have done a better job actually putting this in the story. But I feel like it's a fairly interesting setup for a fanfiction like this and fits kinda well into the Mario series. Okay, back to the story. Toadsworth suggests that the Bowser army might be out for revenge, so Peach very arrogantly tells him to send a 40-man squad to attack. Toadsworth runs over to the barracks and yells at his Toad squad to get them to help. Meanwhile, Mama Sivas declares he will kill everyone involved with his brother's death, as his Goombas and Koopa Troopas bust open the door. He confronts Toadsworth and attacks, swiping at him and breathing fire in his face. Toadsworth gets up and lands a hit on him, but Mama Sivas grabs him by the arm, turns him around, and slams his spiky shell into his body, quickly killing him. The Toads see the scene of gratuitous violence. Get used to that, because there's a lot of that in this series, by the way, and try to run, but Mama Sivas' soldiers get to them as their boss jumps up the stairs to get to the princess. He breathes fire down the corridor and quickly finds her, unarmed without her bodyguard, and without any kind of protection of her own. She asks who he is and how he got past Toadsworth, but before she can even react, he runs past her and stabs her in the back, killing her and leaving the Mushroom Kingdom without its ruler, as Chapter 1 ends. After this strong opening, we cut to the city as Mario is in a meeting with Wart, his agent. Wart tells him the script for his upcoming movie debut, Super Mario 64, is being rewritten, and Mario gets annoyed because Sonic will have probably made like 6 movies by then. Just then, he gets a knock on the door, and he exits the room to see a single Toad, which is bruised and bloodied up in one panel, but I forgot to draw that for the rest. Mario rudely asks why he's here, and the Toad tells him the news of the murder of Princess Peach. Mario accuses the Toad of lying, but he denies it and tells him the whole story, which Mario doesn't believe, because Mama Civis sounds like Mama Civis, which may or may not be how I named the character. Anyways, to prove it, Toad shows Mario the glasses of Toadsworth. This Toad was the only survivor of Mama Civis' attack, and as a good friend of Toadsworth, Mario knows he never takes off his glasses. He believes this Toad, so Mario calls off the meeting, much to the apprehension of Wirt, and he realizes the only way to defeat Mama Civis is, reluctantly, with the help of Luigi. He and Toad set off on their way to find his brother. Meanwhile, in a house on the outskirts of a place called Toad Town, Luigi sits in the childhood home of the Mario Bros, writing a letter to a mysterious person whose name starts with D. I'll give you a moment to guess who that might be. He hears a knock on the door and is surprised to find Mario back at their house. The two immediately start arguing, which Toad stops by explaining the situation to him. Luigi is shocked and saddened by the news. He couldn't even save anyone, and Mario couldn't even save his girlfriend. Mario doesn't take too kindly to that last sentence, and the asshole that he is, jokes about Luigi recently breaking up with Daisy. Argument ensues, Toad reminds them of the goal, and they decide Toad has to come with them. End of Chapter 2. In the first panel of Chapter 3, Toad panics and asks why he has to come, which makes Mario and Luigi argue more. In the middle of the argument, they realize the aforementioned Daisy could be of some help to them, and she should probably know the news. Yes, Daisy will be a main cast member in here, and no, she is not the person Luigi was writing to. Anyways, Luigi explains that Daisy lives in the Mushroom Kingdom now, after she gave up her title of Princess of Sarasaland, and so the three go to her house to tell her the news. Before they can get there though, something zips in front of Luigi's face. Mario gets mad at him for stopping, but then he's taken away by someone slamming him into a tree. It's a Koopa, a very quick one. Koopa the Quick, if you will. Koopa the Quick is one of the 3 new generals of Mama Civis' army, and he was sent to kill the Mario Bros by Mama Civis himself, who is apparently strong and confident enough to personally kill Peach and Toadsworth, but not Mario and Luigi. You know, nothing will stop me from feeling a little proud of this work, but that doesn't mean I can point out the contrivances as my own work too. Koopa the Quick zips at Mario a few times, scratching him in the face, but luckily Mario punches him to the air, jumpstarting the first real fight scene of this series, even though it's a short one. There are lots of fight scenes in this series, so I'll have to gloss over many of them to save time, so just keep that in mind. Anyways, Koopa gets the jump on Mario and knocks him into a tree. Luigi attempts to hit him, but Koopa knocks him into Toad, hurting them both. Koopa notices something falling out of the tree and assumes it's Mario. Next chapter happens and it's not Mario. It's a log Mario put his hat on and threw out the tree, which distracts Koopa long enough for Mario to beat him up, which makes Toad very uncomfortable. Mario threatens to kill Koopa the Quick, which Luigi tries to convince him out of, leaving enough time for Koopa to run away. The two just sigh and go to find Daisy again. We cut back to Peach's castle, revealing Mama Civis' other generals, Bob-omb King and Kamek. He is also working with Professor Egad, who he's paying to develop something called the Ultimate Weapon. We cut to Daisy's house, where she is just about to find the news of Princess Peach's death from a random newspaper. End of Chapter 4. Chapter 5 starts with our 3 heroes in town. Luigi breaks their awkward silence by asking Mario if the rumors about him starring in a movie are true, and telling him he wants nothing to do with it, which Mario is more than content with, but is surprising to Toad. They get to Daisy's house while she's already in the midst of reading about the bad news. They talk about how sad this news is, and then Mario asks her to help them out on their quest to defeat the one responsible for this. Daisy very quickly agrees and wants to get revenge on the guy getting revenge on Mario and Luigi for killing Bowser. After Toad introduces himself to her, they all set out to Princess Peach's castle, despite Toad being a gigantic baby loser. Later on, the 3 reach Peach's castle, which Mama Civis' general Bob-omb King, who is standing guard all this time, notices. Mama Service very arrogantly tells his loud general to send out a 40-man squad to take them out. This concludes the first volume. So I have to rush through it in this video, even though this video is probably going to be ridiculously long, but I think this series of mine actually has a pretty strong opening. The conflict is set up early and it's clear why the story is happening, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of clunky storytelling. Like, why do Mario and Luigi just agree they need to work together like that when they're also arguing so much? And the whole, let's just move on to the second volume. Okay, volume 2. We start with everyone noticing a gigantic chunk of the castle is missing, but before anyone can wonder what happened, Kamek appears. Kamek explains that he doesn't want to fight and gives something to Toad. A map to where he's keeping his girlfriend Toadette hostage. Kamek then promptly disappears as a gigantic army encroaches on our heroes. Daisy pulls out a tennis racket she always carries with her, and everyone minus Toad goes to fight the army. Toad has to sit in the corner thinking about what to do. The other three easily beat away the Koopas and Goombas, but then the numbers become a bit overwhelming for them and they start to suffer some damage. They are pretty good fighters, though. Some Koopa Troopas get in their shell and slam into the three, leaving them open to getting scratched. Luigi tells everyone to make some room. He's gonna power up. Luigi starts screaming and making a Dragon Ball Z aura around him as Daisy and Toad stand confused. He screams once more, ending the chapter. At the start of chapter 6, Luigi turns into a new form. His clothes turn red and white. He becomes Fire Luigi. He shoots out a couple fireballs at the enemies and scares them all away. They all run. He explains the system of power-ups. Powering up is a special transformation where someone gets powers for 10 minutes at a time per day. Someone can only use a power-up once per day, and there are hundreds of different types of power-ups which are extremely rare, and you need to find one to use it. The only exception is that firepower, which is kind of considered like the base power-up and is unlocked with energy inside you and all that. So that's pretty much like the power system for the rest of the series. Anyways, Mario and Luigi both got a cape power from Dinosaur Island. You know, the one from Super Mario World. Daisy and Toad asked them to both teach them power-ups, so Luigi says she'll do it later. Anyways, Toad, coward as he is, decides to stay with the group and go rescue Toadette after they defeat Mama Sivis. So the three start the impossible task of trying to defeat this enemy. We cut back to Mama Sivis in the castle. Bob-omb King alerts Mama Sivis about the four breaking through the defenses and heading towards them. Mama Sivis tells Bob-omb King to deal with them. And Koopa the Quick is there too. Bob-omb King greets everyone as they enter into his castle, calling them the greatest scum on the earth and telling them he'll fight them to the death. He is very loyal to Mama Sivis, in case you couldn't tell. Luigi decides to go and fight since he still has his firepower, and the battle between Luigi and Bob-omb King commences. End of chapter 7. Chapter 8 starts as Luigi lunges towards Bob-omb King, and 10 minutes have passed apparently, because he immediately runs out of his firepower as Bob-omb King punches him in the face and beats him senseless. Luigi gets to push him down the stairs and take a single hit on him, but Bob-omb King retaliates by throwing him down the stairs. He conjures a bomb out of thin air and throws it at Luigi. Daisy tries to hit it away, but accidentally hits Luigi instead, which turns out good because it gives Luigi the opportunity to punch Bob-omb King in the face. Never mind. Bob-omb King summons 2 bombs out this time and throws them at Luigi. Luigi kicks them back, but turns out Bob-omb King is impervious to his own blasts. Bob-omb King then does a technique called Explosion Level 1, where he explodes and walks out completely unscathed. So does Luigi because the blast was very small, and he decides to do Explosion Level 2 as the chapter finishes. This more powerful explosion knocks Luigi down the stairs, and he hits his head as he falls down. This worries Mario, but he knows Luigi can take it. As Luigi lies on the ground, Toad notices Bob-omb King is out of breath, and thinks Luigi could take advantage of this. Luigi says he has a plan and gets back up. Bob-omb King throws a bomb at him, but Luigi turns to his cape power and deflects it. This angers Bob-omb King, causing him to use Explosion Level 3, which Luigi gets away from because the cape power allows him to momentarily fly. He flies back and deflects more of his attacks, tiring out the Bob-omb King, who is enraged at this point. He grabs Luigi, says an anime line, and the chapter ends. Bob-omb King delivers a lengthy death speech and yells, "Explosion level 4," which causes a timer to go off on his face. The four panic, and everyone helps Luigi out of the grasp of Bob-omb King. Luigi picks him up and flies him out of the castle, just in time for him to do a massive explosion, taking himself out. He sacrificed himself for his lord, Mama Civis. The four escape the crumbling castle as Volume 2 ends. So that was a pretty eventful volume. We get the main power system introduced, and the first real, actual, not really short fight scene happens. So with all that, let's just move on to Volume 3. We start with everyone just straight up face to face with Mama Civis. He kicks their ass, of course, and yells about how they didn't need to kill Bowser. Luigi, he says that he had no choice but to kill him, and the Koopalings too. But still, he wasn't sure if it was the right decision. Mario takes a serious beating from Mama Civis and decides to use up his firepower. Mama Civis kicks him away, except the clock strikes 4, which makes him leave. Because he cares about getting revenge, but he also doesn't give a shit at all, I guess. Okay, in all seriousness, the reason he's going is to see the opening of the ultimate weapon. Still bad writing, though. So he leaves, but there's still someone else in the castle. Koopa the Quick. End of chapter 11. The four still don't know Koopa the Quick is in the castle, though. So the next chapter, everyone discusses their next move. After all, they have no idea where Mama Civis is going. But before they can decide anything, a familiar zip goes across the page, and Koopa the Quick meets with everyone again. He simply gives Mario a time and a place for a rematch. The peak of Bob-omb Battlefield, 8 o'clock, tomorrow. He says if he wins, he'll tell Mario the secret of Mama Civis's ultimate weapon. Everyone properly acknowledges how weird with it, so they just go with it because they have no other options. They also decide in the meantime they'll teach Daisy and Toad power-ups. So they head back home. Here's the funny interaction they have on the way. End of chapter 12. Sometime later, back at Luigi's home, the Mario Bros teach Daisy and Toad how to power up. Daisy got it quickly, but Toad just can't really get it. The only advice Mario and Luigi have for him is scream a lot. Luigi asks Toad why he wants to power up, and Toad says it's because he wants to rescue Toadette. Luigi tells him to hold on to his motivations, and the line I stole from Dragon Ball. Okay, sorry, let's just let these serious moments speak for themselves. Toad stares at the glass of Toadsworth and remembers his hero. Toad becomes Fire Toad. He declares he has to go on his own way to rescue Toadette. So, Toad leaves the group and goes off to rescue his girlfriend as the chapter ends. So yeah, for the rest of the story, Toad isn't actually with the main cast because he's on his own mission. I eventually planned his return though, of course, but I wrote like 20 volumes and I haven't even written his return yet. He sure takes a while to do his mission. Next chapter starts in a mysterious jungle area where Mama Civis is storing his full army and his ultimate weapon. There is a mysterious figure watching them all, and this figure wants to get this ultimate weapon, but he'd rather get some more information before he attacks. We are also introduced to 4 members of the Mama Civis army, the lieutenants who are under the generals: Fire Bro, Sumo Bro, Hammer Bro, and Boomerang Bro. Koopa the Quick runs over and lies to them by telling them Mama Civis wants them to stand guard at a place called Mushroom Gorge. So the lieutenants head over there. You see, Mushroom Gorge is the only place between Bob-omb Battlefield and the location of the ultimate weapon. And Koopa's whole dual Mario thing where tell him all the secrets isn't technically something Mama Civis would approve of, for some reason. So the lieutenants being there is sort of like a failsafe in case Koopa loses his duel, and our 4 heroes know the location of Mama Civis's ultimate weapon. Some time passes and the 3 go to the town known as Bob-omb Battlefield. Mario talks about how he's not sure Toad can really do what he's trying to do when he suddenly trips on something. He doesn't really know what it is, so they just head into town. They notice a huge mountain in the town, so Mario decides to go there, where Luigi and Daisy explore the town. Mario climbs the mountain as the chapter ends. No trees this time. Mario is immediately attacked by Koopa the Quick as he climbs the mountain, who zips around him and scratches him in the face. Mario tries to hit him a few times, but Koopa dodges all of them. Koopa goes into a shell and shoots himself at Mario, which he's able to avoid. The fighting continues a bit, and Mario is able to get one hit on Koopa, but he's almost knocked off the mountain as the volume ends. So, this whole volume has some pretty awkward writing with the villain's motivations. I really should have tried to do a bit more to actually flesh them out, but I think I do a better job of the feature, and the villains I was planning to add were much better. I learned a lot from this. Yes, I planned pretty much every part of the future of this series, by the way, because I had way too much time on my hands when I wrote this, but that's a discussion for another time. Other than that, I think this was a pretty solid volume of my own, and this is what I like to call the Bob-omb Battlefield mini-arc, which will last for the next few chapters. The next volume starts with Daisy and Luigi looking around the town. They find a guide who tells them the story of Bob-omb Battlefield. 100 years ago, there was a war between the Black Bob-ombs and the Pink Bob-ombs, until Black Bob-omb King and Pink Bob-omb King signed a treaty guaranteeing peace for all Bob-ombs, and so the town was constructed on their battlefield. The town became a big tourist attraction, and lots of movies are filmed there. I wonder which movie would be filmed there. Anyways, years later, the town is now ruled by Pink Bob-omb King III and Black Bob-omb King III in a sort of dual monarchy. Only Black Bob-omb King recently left the town to join some army. The king of this town is evil. He has joined Mama Service and been killed by Luigi, which is not ideal for him. Back on the mountaintop, Koopa knocks Mario off, only for him to fly back as Cape Mario. Koopa the Quick zips around Mario, scratching him, and Mario is crossing his fingers, hoping Koopa will use that shell move again so he can deflect it. End of chapter 16. Koopa and Mario fight for the whole of chapter 17 without many notable things happening until the last page, where Koopa decides to go in his shell form and slam into Mario. Mario is able to deflect him, but he doesn't quite manage to knock him off the mountain like he anticipated. For chapter 18, we go back into town. Luigi and Daisy are at a diner, and are kinda disturbed by the fact that all the items have Bob-omb in their name. Suddenly, Daisy notices the person sitting in the booth behind Luigi, the Pink Bob-omb King, who is dining with a mysterious person known as Mouser. And Daisy isn't the only person who notices. This mysterious Mouser character gets up and swipes Luigi's wallet. Turns out, Mouser knows who Mario and Luigi are, and he isn't going to let them ruin his plans. Mouser throws away Luigi's wallet, and it turns out he's working for a man named Lord G. Daisy and Luigi overhear that the King and Mouser are planning to meet at a warehouse, and decide it's suspicious, but they can't really do anything about it. Except they then hear Pink Bob-omb say he wants to continue the war between the Pink and Black Bob-ombs. Daisy says they have to stop him, but Luigi would rather prioritize their quest to defeat Mama Service. Daisy suggests she goes to alert the locals, and Luigi thinks it's a good idea. Back to Mario and Koopa, they continue exchanging blows until Mario's cape feather runs out, and Koopa gets a quick hit on him before Mario punches him in the stomach as the chapter ends. As chapter 19 starts, Mario realizes something. When he was powering up just now, he felt a new power. At some point, he got a new power-up, and that was what he had tripped over earlier. So, he powers up, knocking Koopa away with the aura, and emerging as Boomerang Mario. In this form, he has the power to conjure up boomerangs and throw them. He throws a boomerang, which Koopa is able to avoid with ease, and Koopa swipes at him, which he dodges. He throws another one, which Koopa anticipates returning and gets ready for. Only Mario didn't throw it in a way that it would return, catching Koopa off guard long enough for him to give him a beating and kick him off the mountain. Mario wins the battle. Mario goes down the mountain, and Koopa, accepting defeat, tells him the location of Mama Service's ultimate weapon, Congo Jungle. Mario will have to pass through Mushroom Gorge to get there. Mario then explains his strategy for how he defeated Koopa the Quick, and Koopa feels really stupid for not getting it. End of chapter 19. The next chapter starts with Daisy trying to tell everyone what she heard Pink Bob-omb King say, which no one believes. Daisy is frustrated and then decides to go to the warehouse herself, which Luigi tells her is a bad idea. Daisy calls him selfish for not caring about the people of Bob-omb Battlefield, and she immediately apologizes, but Luigi won't have it, saying she's right, and he was being selfish. Hey, character development. So, they head off to the warehouse. We cut to Moser in the warehouse, and Bob-omb tells him he'll have to show ID to get in. Moser removes his glasses, and the bomb goes into a trance and immediately lets him in. Moser says he hasn't controlled this many Bob-ombs in one day since he was in Mama Cirrus's army. After Moser enters the warehouse, Daisy and Luigi show up, and Daisy shows her ID to get in. But since Luigi lost his wallet, they both split up there. Daisy goes to the warehouse, and Luigi heads to look for Mario, and the volume ends. Let's move right on to volume 5. Daisy sneaks into the warehouse and hears Bob-omb King talking about that whole continuing the bloody war thing, or whatever bombs have inside of them. Bob-omb King spots her though, and Moser commands him to run after her. Daisy runs away while Bob-omb King chases her into another warehouse, but she's quickly able to hide behind some boxes. Moser tells him to look for her so he can deliver something to Lord G, which will supposedly help him take Mama Cirrus's ultimate weapon. Yeah, turns out that mysterious person from before who was lurking around Mama Cirrus's ultimate weapon, that was Lord G. Daisy meanwhile knocks over something in the warehouse by accident, which alerts Bob-omb King, so she quickly just plans to ambush him. It doesn't work out. Daisy asks why he's starting this war, and Bob-omb King tells her it's because Moser told them to. Daisy asks who Moser is, and Bob-omb King replies with an explosion level 2 attack. Daisy survives it and tries to counterattack, but he grabs her, throws her away, and readies that familiar Bob-omb throw. End of chapter 21. In the next chapter, Mario and Luigi meet up, and they find a Mario branded motel, which Mario goes to complain about because he apparently never licensed it. A stranger gives Luigi back his wallet, which he found in the trash, and he tells him some mouse guy did it, which Luigi is very confused by. Can we talk about how much of a Giga Chad move it is for Mouse to just throw it away instead of stealing the money or something? Anyways, back at the warehouse, Daisy dodges King Bob-omb's attack. He throws 2 more bombs, which Daisy deflects with her tennis racket. He then throws 4 at a time, which she also deflects. Then he pulls out a big Bob-omb throw, and the chapter ends. Chapter 23 starts with Daisy powering up to deflect this attack, and becoming Fire Daisy. She throws 2 fireballs, which King Bob-omb makes disappear with an explosion level 1 attack. He calls her a fool because she could have created an explosion big enough to kill both of them, and rushes towards Daisy. So maybe it was a good thing Luigi's firepower went out. Speaking of Luigi, here he is. He kicks Bob-omb King in the face, only he slammed to the pavement afterwards. He grabs Luigi and creates some bombs to throw at him. Before he can do anything though, Luigi's friend Daisy wraps a rope around him, which happened to be at the warehouse, and lights it on fire. In the panic, King Bob-omb lets Luigi go. He asks if there's anything he could do to save his life, and Daisy tells him to tell them about who Moser is and what his plans are. Bob-omb King says Moser is a former Mama Cirrus general who can mind control any Bob-ombs and plans to start a war. He says nothing about Lord G though. This implies Black Bob-omb is under some kind of mind control too, which Luigi panics about. Luigi and Daisy run away and decide to make Moser pay for making him kill an innocent person as the chapter ends. Okay, so turns out Mario actually did license this brand to the motel, but he just forgot about it. Luigi and Daisy run over to him and explain the situation. Moser, who is staying in Motel Mario, overhears them and mind controls everyone in the building. Mario tells everyone the ultimate weapon is somewhere in Congo Jungle when a huge crowd of Bob-ombs come to attack. The heroes recognize they're being mind controlled, so they beat them up, but not too much. Luigi notices they're both pink and black Bob-ombs, which makes them wonder if Moser even cares about the war or not. They don't have much time to question his motivations, though, as the fighting continues until Daisy brings out some fire to scare everyone away. All the Bob-ombs except one run away, and that one tells her the location of Mouser. Mario and Luigi go to the motel as Daisy deals with the rest of the Bob-ombs, who already just ran away, as the chapter ends. Yeah, in Chapter 5, Daisy notices there are no Bob-ombs and just has to stand around. Except for her power runs out, and Pink Bob-omb comes back to fight her. Man, I really don't know what 10 minutes is, huh? Anyways, the bros beat Mouser, who turns out to be very pathetic. He gets the shit beat out of him, and fearing for his life, reverses the mind control. Except for one Bob-omb, because Mario wanted to play the spaghetti. Mario beats Mouser some more and forces him to leave town. Mario leaves, the volume ends, and Mario and Luigi and Daisy still don't know anything about Lord G, who was the one behind all that. So in that little Bob Battlefield arc, we got the first time to really set up a location and do some world building of a specific town in the story. And it's really the first time I do that in any story. I don't really do much, but hey, I grew a lot writing this, so yeah. I didn't get too ambitious while world building, and let's just say I get way too ambitious while world building later on in this series. And I do in a lot of other things I write too. Anyways, let's move on to the next volume. After Mouser flees the town, Mario explains everything he learned about him to Luigi and Daisy when Pink Bob-omb King shows up. Daisy goes to attack until he realizes he is no longer under mind control. It's all good though, and Pink Bob-omb King thanks everyone for saving their people and offers them some food and a place to stay. We cut back to Momoceros at his ultimate weapon, which turns out is made out of that missing chunk of Princess Peach's castle. Professor Egad is there, and he explains that using some of the DNA from Luigi, he made a clone of him, Gooigi, that one guy from Luigi's Mansion 3. He then tells Momoceros there's some weird mouse guy dying on that lawn. In a flashback, we find out Lord G beat the shit out of Mouser when he found out he lost to the bros, and then he left him in front of Momoceros' ultimate weapon hideout. Why? Because he knew Momoceros would do this to him. Turns out, Momoceros really, really hates traitors. This bloodbath continues on to the next chapter, but something else happens. We're introduced to a new character biome in Momoceros. Donkey Kong. I mean, come on, you had to know I'd put Donkey Kong in here. As of now, we don't know what his motivations are, but it's clear he doesn't like Momoceros being here in his homeland. Anyways, Mouser is definitely dead. The next day, back in Bob-omb Battlefield, Mario is a little weirded out by the fact that everything in the town starts with the word Bob-omb, which is a little hypocritical given the hotel they're staying in. The three leave the hotel and find the suitcase Mouser was holding from before. Daisy opens it and it ends up being nothing. Or is it? We'll have to find out what that power-up is in the next battle. King Bob-omb King says goodbye to the three heroes, and they depart for Congo Jungle via Mushroom Gorge, where the Momoceros lieutenants are waiting for them. End of chapter 27. Sometime later, the Momoceros killing squad arrives at Mushroom Gorge when the lieutenants drop off the sign attacking them. Sumo Bro uses an electricity attack on Luigi and begs him. I've labeled the lieutenants for your convenience, by the way. The rest of the lieutenants fight Mario and Daisy as Sumo Bro and Boomerang Bro run away with Luigi. Luigi and Boomerang and Sumo Bros have some fight in a casino, which continues to the next chapter. Luigi and Boomerang Bro have a poker match where he stole a thing from Jojo and Luigi tries to bet his own soul, so Boomerang Bro gives up, but Boomerang Bro knows what he is doing, so Luigi just kind of punches him and runs away. It's not really that funny. Mario and Daisy continue their battle with the lieutenants and are pretty evenly matched. Luigi comes back to join them, which means that was pretty pointless, and the chapter ends. The heroes run from the lieutenants in the next chapter, and Mario does a familiar move and throws a barrel at them, knocking them away and putting an end to their brief detour to the Mushroom Gorge. Quick cut back to Congo Jungle, where we find out Professor Egad has a convenient key to shut down the ultimate weapon. But don't worry, Luigi is guarding it, and DK is determined to stop them and save his country. His Donkey Kong country. Back to the three heroes, they find a rocky wall they have to climb with the spike pit underneath it. Daisy and Luigi climb it easily, but Mario is a little nervous as not sure if he'll be able to do it. End of Volume 6. So that was honestly not really a very eventful volume, but moving on to the next one. Oh hey, look who's on the cover. Wonder what happens. Mario climbs the wall with relative ease until a bee stings him, making him fall, so he uses his cape power to recover. Luigi gets mad at him for somehow falling off and using up his power, and he doesn't really believe the bee thing very much. Turns out the bee actually works for Mama Service though, which is a plot line I never expand upon, which is a decision I will defend until I die because that's hilarious. They then jump over some mountains, and the chapter ends as they reach Congo Jungle. The next chapter starts with an army ambushing the three, and Mario makes use of that cape power, not even taking a single hit from them. Daisy takes out some too. Suddenly, Mario and Luigi see a shell shoot at them, which is knocked away by Donkey Kong. And turns out Mario and Donkey Kong know each other. Donkey Kong immediately tells Mario he'll pay for kidnapping his dad, which surprises Daisy. Mario dodges a punch and says his dad kidnapped his ex first. DK believes him. He knows his father used to be a pretty bad ape. We then get a Hunter x Hunter-esque panel where Mario explains that before he met Peach, he lived in the Metro Kingdom, and his girlfriend at the time, Pauline, was kidnapped by an ape named Donkey Kong, so he kidnapped him back. That Donkey Kong is now known as Cranky Kong, and his current son is this Donkey Kong who inherited his name. Chapter ends. Chapter 33 also has a lot of dialogue, which basically explains the story of Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong. 2 years ago, Cranky went out to search for Donkey Kong to get revenge on him. The person who told him to do so was Mama Service. Mario is surprised and tells DK the story of how he took over the Mushroom Kingdom, which surprises DK. Mario tells DK how they intend to beat Mama Service, and DK asks to join them. So, we get a fourth or fifth main party member of the story, Donkey Kong. And turns out, back in Volume 1, that mysterious person Luigi was writing a letter to was Donkey Kong. And it was a stranger in a dark cloak who told him the whole story about Donkey Kong and Mario. Luigi suspects it was Mama Service, but it isn't clear. Anyways, why did Mama Service tell Cranky to look for Mario 2 years ago, then wait all this time to attack the Mushroom Kingdom? Daisy and Luigi introduce themselves to DK, and DK tells everyone about the key to the ultimate weapon. Suddenly, the heroes are ambushed by those lieutenants from before who managed to recover from the whole barrel stunt, and DK immediately goes to punch Hammer Bro in the face. Mario, Luigi, and Daisy then realize there are 4 of them and 4 of the lieutenants, so hey, might as well fight one-on-one. DK agrees to this plan, and the very eventful chapter ends before they fight. First of these matches is Mario vs. Hammer Bro. Hammer Bro summons a few hammers and whacks Mario down. Mario gets up and kicks him in the stomach, then tries to hit him with that forward air from Smash, but he's hit in the stomach by Hammer Bro. Mario, having taken a lot of damage from these hammers, lays down on the ground as Hammer Bro prepares one gigantic one to slam into Mario. Mario promptly punches it out of his hands and crushes him with the handle of his hammer. Hammer Bro is defeated. Daisy's opponent is Boomerang Bro, who at first is pretty easy for Daisy to predict. End of Chapter 34. Chapter 35 starts as Daisy gets the upper hand on Boomerang Bro, and that's all that happens in the last 2 pages. Next is DK vs. Sumo Bro. DK starts with the headbutt attack, but Sumo Bro is quickly able to turn it around with his electricity powers. They dodge around for a bit until Sumo Bro does a huge lightning explosion. How will DK be able to damage him? By picking up a huge tree and chasing him around, of course. Sumo Bro is very scared by this as the volume ends. Okay, so that was a better volume. Despite the really clunky way Donkey Kong was introduced to this story, I think this portion is actually really fun. We're getting near the end of the Mama Service arc here, so let's just move on to the next volume. We start with Donkey Kong quickly winning that matchup with Super Bro by hitting him with the tree. Next up, Luigi versus Fire Bro, and judging by the cover of the volume, this looks like it might get dangerous. Luigi slams Fire Bro to the ground, so he gets back up and shoots some fireballs, which Luigi just narrowly dodges. He dodges around until Fire Bro makes a huge explosion with his fire ability. Luigi immediately decides to use his fire power so that the fire doesn't affect him at all. Fire Bro is surprised for some reason that he can power up, even though everyone else uses power-ups, and the chapter ends. Next chapter has Luigi dealing some serious damage to Fire Bro and quickly winning the battle. But there's still a matter of the jungle being on fire. Donkey Kong tells everyone to stand back, so he breathes all over it, putting it all out. You remember that one thing Donkey Kong does in Donkey Kong Country Returns? Reference to that. It also turns out the lieutenants have permanent power-up abilities due to experiments done by Professor Egad, which he can only do with Koopas. Say it with me now, this plotline goes nowhere. Hammer Bro is about to tell him the power-ups Mama Service has until Sumo Bro fucking kills him for saying too much. Everyone is shocked and the Mario Bros just decide to go to Mama Service. For a moment though, Luigi could swear he saw Ludwig, one of the Koopas who he killed on Dinosaur Island. He shrugs it off. That can actually be him, right? Soon enough, our heroes finally get to the ultimate weapon. Mario and Luigi notice it's made up of pieces of Peach and Bowser's castle, and question how they moved them all here so quickly. DK says he saw a wizard guy teleport them there, which the Mario Bros have to shrug off. Anyways, the chapter ends as the four heroes go to finally beat Mama Service. The final battle starts now. They find two doors, one labeled EGAD Lab and one labeled Mama Service. Mario says they should go in the Mama Service one, but DK says the other one is probably the room that contains the key to show off the ultimate weapon. Mario doesn't really like that idea though and decides to go to Mama Service, so Luigi follows him. Luigi asks Daisy and DK to go get the key as they fight Mama Service, and they agree to it. Suddenly the door is busted down, and we're finally here. The Mario Bros are face to face with Mama Service. As Mama Service stabs Mario and throws him into Luigi, the two realize this is it. This is gonna be a lot harder than Dinosaur Island. DK and Daisy bust into EGAD's lab, and he immediately tries to threaten him with a vacuum cleaner. Daisy and DK tell him they're here to destroy his weapon. EGAD calls DK Cranky's son, which enrages him, but he has to hold off on it for now. The key is the priority. He can figure out how the hell he knows this later. EGAD smashes the vacuum cleaner, which makes a bunch of ghosts fly out, including King Boo. Yep, it's the vacuum cleaner from Luigi's Mansion. Daisy tells DK to get the key while she fends off the ghosts. While Daisy grapples with the fact that ghosts are real, she realizes she can't hit them at all. End of chapter 38. Oh yeah, we're on 38 now, by the way. King Boo continues to sweep at Daisy in the next chapter, while Daisy notices he fades in and out whenever he passes through things. And as if this ghost she can't even touch isn't enough, EGAD pushes a button, and now she has to deal with a blob version of her ex-boyfriend as well. Luigi kicks her down. King Boo spits a spiked ball at her, which DK luckily comes back and hits away. Daisy thanks him, and she points out that since King Boo needs to fade in and out of things, that could mean they have to attack him the moment he's faded back into existence. DK likes the idea, and asks if she wants to take on King Boo while he attacks Luigi, which she agrees to. Daisy also comes up with the name Luigi, completely independent from EGAD, which makes EGAD feel weird. Except DK already heard the name Luigi from before, which is a fact we're going to ignore for the sake of the joke. I'm a perfect writer. So, Daisy tries out her new power-up. Turns out, it's the Super Ball ability, an ability where she can make iron balls which bounce off of anything it hits. The one from Super Mario Land, you know? Or maybe you don't know because not everyone has a stupid and dumb amount of Mario knowledge like I do. Anyways, the idea Daisy had about attacking him while he fades back works very well, and the trajectory of the iron balls turns out to be very unpredictable. Egad really doesn't want him in his lab. End of chapter 39. In the next chapter, Egad is immediately knocked down by the iron balls, so Daisy makes them disappear. She throws another one, which bounces across the entire room and presses a button, sucking the ghost up again. Egad does some exposition dump about ghosts, and turns out the ultimate weapon is a really big laser which can't do anything because it's pointed at the sky. Yeah, the ultimate weapon isn't really a threat at all. Egad saw it was dangerous and put a design flaw in it so he couldn't really destroy anything. That's the secret of the ultimate weapon. It's a big laser and it doesn't do anything. Daisy asks him why he tells him so much, and the only reason Egad did this is because he wanted money. DK and Gooigi turn out to fight a little bit and the volume ends. Okay, by the way, I promise that an ultimate weapon reveal isn't as underwhelming when we get to the next arc. Yeah, it's still underwhelming, but believe me, the Mama Service arc isn't the last we see of this ultimate weapon. Our second last volume of the arc starts with Donkey Kong grabbing Gooigi and quickly taking him out. Egad, terrified by Daisy's power-up, isn't doing anything to them. DK takes care of him pretty quickly and throws him out the window. Back to the scene you actually want to see. Mario and Luigi lunge towards Mama Service as he knocks them both to the ground. Mario and Luigi then realize it would be easier to fight him one-on-one, and it would be easier to draw. Luigi tries first, kicking him once in the face and punching him once in the head. Mama Service kicks him down, so Luigi decides to use his capability. Mama Service hits him with some more fire, and Luigi flies upwards and swoops around. Mama Service ends up scratching him though, and he ends up ripping the cape, essentially rendering his power-up useless. The chapter ends. Chapter 42 has Mama Service cut up Luigi even more and punches him down. Mario joins the fight, and he is pretty confident about his abilities. Mama Service looks Mario in the eye and tells him he's a monster, and he'll kill him and everyone who ever loved him. Mama Service doesn't even care if it's worse than what Mario and Luigi did. Mario says he had to do it to Bowser, but still, he apologizes. Mario is sorry for what he did. Mama Service won't have it, so the fight begins. Mario punches Mama Service, who breathes fire in his face. He dodges it and uses his boomerang power-up. Quick cut to Lord G, who's finally making his move on Mama Service. Only he's stopped by a mysterious guardian from outer space, a guardian who has been watching our four heroes all this time. Rosalina, another mysterious person in this series. Mario and Mama Service fight in the next chapter, as Mama Service grabs Mario but is hit in the head by a boomerang Mario threw earlier. Mama Service gets mad, and he scratches Mario and pushes him down. Mario throws another boomerang, which Mama Service predicts. Only, he threw two boomerangs. He outsmarts Mama Service, so Mama Service is hit in the head with that boomerang, leaving enough time for Mario to hit him with an uppercut.
Look at this dude!
Mama Service is barely phased. Meanwhile, Ludwig and Lord G are stopped in their tracks by a laser fired by Rosalina, trapping them in place for the time being, and taking its toll on Rosalina. What are Rosalina's motivations and where does she come from? You'll have to find out in the next video. End of chapter 43. Back to Mario and Mama Service again. Mama Service makes a massive fireball which Mario dodges, but is stabbed by Mama Service at the end. Suddenly the castle starts to crumble. Mama Service's fireball was too big. Mama Service doesn't care though, and he continues to swipe around at Mario. Suddenly, a big piece of rubble falls on Mario as the chapter ends, and he's trapped in place. Chapter 45. Luigi panics as Mama Service attacks him. He focuses more on dodging the rubble than Mama Service though, and he's knocked away by some aura from Mama Service. He's powering up. Turns out, the hidden power-up of Mama Service was the cat power. Mama Service pulls up the piece of rubble Mario was under and immediately starts scratching him, which is extra powerful now because he's a cat. Mario's able to get a kick on him though, and then he does this. Mama Service jumps up and does a dive move. Mario thinks he's finished until DK saves someone. For the third time. DK says Daisy is alright, but got trapped under some rubble, and asks Mario and Luigi to save her themselves. He doesn't want to do it for some reason. DK tags in and goes in for the attack. Hey, turns out Meowmasiris also knows of Cranky Kong, because he's good friends with King K. Rool, who's an enemy of him. With that, we're done with Volume 9. Okay, here we are, Volume 10. I'll give you a cookie if I remember who all these characters are. Oh, and by the way, just wanted to give some context of how long this took, and I guess you can probably imagine that because of how long this video is. First volume of this series was finished in June. This one came out in October. As DK and Meowmasiris fight, DK asks where Cranky is, to where Meowmasiris replies that he's probably still imprisoned in Kremkrok Industries. They continue fighting and dance around each other's attacks, until Meowmasiris scratches DK in the face with his kitty claws and knocks him on the ground. Mario turns into his fire power, and DK gets up to land one last big punch on him. It doesn't land though, and DK is knocked to the ground as Meowmasiris prepares one big move. Only he turns his back and pounces on something else for some reason. DK is confused, but quickly takes the opportunity to give Meowmasiris a good beatdown before collapsing from lack of energy. We get a reveal that Mario does in fact want to get spaghetti after this, and the chapter ends. Chapter 47. Meowmasiris is now Momasiris, and he and Mario clash. Momasiris asks how he distracted him earlier, making him pounce on something. Mario tells him that when Momasiris did that weird hairball, it showed him Meowmasiris has all the instincts of the cat, for better or for worse, and that includes wanting to chase red dots. Momasiris does not like Mario being so smart and tries to attack him, which Mario dodges. Mario jumps over Momasiris and throws 2 fireballs at him, which doesn't affect him at all. Turns out neither Mario nor Momasiris can take damage from fire right now. Momasiris tries even more fire so the castle will crumble and kill everyone inside. He doesn't even care if he dies at this point. End of chapter 47. Next chapter, Momasiris shoots fire at Luigi, only he's stopped by Mario, who shoots fire back at him. The fire actually does affect him, which is how Mario finds out the pressure of fire can still affect people who have fire power. Momasiris shoots a huge blast, which Mario overpowers with his own fire. He grabs Momasiris by the tail and... Momasiris. Mario jumps up and hits Momasiris with a huge punch attack. That's when Luigi realizes it. He's beating Momasiris. He's doing it. Mario looks at Momasiris, down on the ground, and tells him he has to do this. The smoke makes it harder for Momasiris to breathe, as Mario goes in for the kill. For a brief moment, he flashes back to Dinosaur Island, and in his last moments, Momasiris thinks of his brother. Mario tells him he went too far. End of chapter 48. Chapter 49, second last one. DK puts out the fire with his super breath, and Mario and Luigi briefly celebrate the defeat of Momasiris. DK looks for Daisy while the bros leave the castle. Mario and Luigi have a heart-to-heart. Luigi says he never doubted him for a second, and the two agree to never forget the events of Dinosaur Island, to learn from their mistakes and move on. Daisy enters the scene and celebrates Momasiris' defeat with them. Daisy asks what will happen to the Mushroom Kingdom now, and Mario responds by saying they'll all get spaghetti, which is exactly what Daisy asked. Daisy asks if DK wants to come with them. He apologizes and says he can't. Defeating Momasiris might have been the end of their journey, but it's not the end of his. He still needs to beat King K. Rool. Mario wishes him luck, and DK tells him he'll write. Apes are surprisingly good at writing, after all, without opposable thumbs. So, Donkey Kong departs the group. Bros and Daisy decide to go celebrate the defeat of Momasiris, and celebrate the lives of Peach, Toadsworth, and all the other Toads they lost back in the Mushroom Kingdom. But Momasiris isn't their only enemy. Lord G breaks out of the rubble and abuses Ludwig for asking what he wants to do next. Or rather, he asks what they do know. How does anyone make that spelling mistake? Jesus. The final chapter takes place 1 week later, back in Toad Town. Luigi is looking around for something and turns a corner to find a massive celebration as Mario tells the story of their adventure. Daisy greets Luigi and tells him how amazing it is that people from all over the Mushroom Kingdom are here to celebrate. Luigi points out the spaghetti, which makes Daisy laugh, and she invites him to come celebrate with them. During the celebration, Mario apologizes to Luigi for anything he might have done or said. When he gets a phone call from Wart, Mario yells at him because he's already canceled the Super Mario 64 movie. Daisy and Luigi wonder some more about Toad, and Mario hangs up on Wart, who is talking about how many movies Sonic will have made by then. Mario wishes Peach and Toadsworth could be here to see the Mushroom Kingdom right now. Right before this volume ends, we then get a little post-credit scene of sorts. Kamek is now the de facto leader of the Mama Civis army. He decides to disband it, tells everyone to go home. There's someone making trouble he needs to deal with. We also get a look at Rosalina up in space, exhausted from using her energy in that laser attack. Rosalina tells her Luma assistant to pick a vessel and go to Earth. Mario and Luigi are in danger. End of Mama Civis saga. So, I guess this is the part of the video where I really go into detail on what I think about my story and how I felt making it. From every objective standpoint, the story is pretty bad. Obviously, the art isn't really good, and there are a lot of contrivances in the main plot, but honestly, maybe I'm just too charitable to my own work, because I feel like it's really enjoyable to read. I feel like the way all these iconic characters interact and are written is really fun, and the plot of this story is simple but adapts the Mario series fairly well, even if it makes it a little darker. I really did do my research and spent probably way too much time dedicating precious brain space to this series for this. I obviously have a lot of criticisms of what I wrote, but hey, it's a story I wrote when I was young. Of course there's going to be a lot of flaws in it. What's the point being too harsh on a story I wrote as a kid? All in all, this story was really special to me. I wrote it at a time where I wasn't exactly at the best point in my life, and creating this huge world and expanding on characters in this franchise I love really helped me out, and I'll always look back on this stupid comic book series of mine fondly, remembering all the small details, little references, and bits of foreshadowing I put there for no one but myself, honestly. Congratulations, you just watched an hour-long video about my Mario manga comic fanfiction series. Holy shit, I did not expect this to be long. I knew it was gonna be long, but I thought 20 minutes. Anyways, next time I'll cover all the material I made for the next arc, the Lord G arc, as well as everything past that I was beginning to write. That's gonna be a lot. It probably won't be my very next video after this one, but I will try to make it soon, most likely after I upload for my next video. With that, I want to thank you so much for watching and putting up with all this. I hope you have a great day. See ya.